There is outrage across campuses in India. Female students are out on the streets protesting. Why? Because colleges, they say, are simply not safe for them. Not from insiders and not from outsiders. What's worse, a system that is supposed to protect them is repressing their voice and suppressing their concerns. In the span of 1 week, we have seen two different developments in two very different colleges. One is the Kalakshetra, the iconic temple of fine arts and culture in Chennai. Students there accused 4 professors of sexual harassment. The first instinct of the institution was to brush the whole thing under the carpet. The second incident was reported in Delhi's Indraprastha College. Hooligans gate-crashed their college fest and harassed female students. But instead of hunting them down, the cops detained and threatened protesting girl students. In its aftermath, another girls' college now says their fest will be restricted and end by 5 p.m. A mind-boggling response on all accounts. Instead of making your campuses safe for your students, you want to lock them up to protect them. What sort of logic is that? This is the story across campuses in our country. It's about time we say enough is enough. Education is the fundamental right of every woman in this country. It is their pathway to independence, to financial security, to success. But if women are not safe in campuses, our system and society needs a serious overhaul. We need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make colleges safe. After all, this is a relationship of trust. Parents send their children to schools and colleges with the implicit trust that their girls and boys will be safe, they'll be looked after. But when it comes to sexual harassment, it seems our system has not learnt its lessons and needs some very intensive schooling. We'll be discussing all of that in detail on the show. But first, a look at this report, which is tracing what happened in Kalakshetra, in Chennai, and at the Delhi University, and the common thread that underlies universities and campuses across this country.
From the hallowed halls of Chennai's Kalakshetra to the bustling forecourts of Delhi University, female students have just one question: is nowhere safe for us? It all started with murmurs in the Rukmini College of Kalakshetra. Allegations of sexual harassment by professors, no, gurus, at this temple of fine arts. The students came out in large numbers. Around 200 of them boycotted exams and sat in protest last week. They wanted action against 4 staffers accused of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior. Days later, an arrest was made. Hari Padman, an assistant professor at the college, is now in judicial custody. He's been suspended by Rukmini College along with 3 others. An internal complaints committee has also been formed to prevent a repeat of these incidents. But the question is, did Kalakshetra wake up too late? When the Tamil Nadu Women's Commission chief visited the college to prepare a report, she encountered a hostile administration. The college principal, she says, gave unsatisfactory answers. It's a classic example of what women go through in this country. First, society fails them, then the system. Just ask students at the Indraprastha College in Delhi. On the 20th of March, they were enjoying a night of music and fun. After all, it was the annual college festival. As night fell, a group of men gate-crashed the event. They scaled the walls, entered the campus and harassed female students. They later recounted being groped, catcalled and harassed. The college administration's response was mind-boggling. Instead of driving these hooligans out, they ordered hostelers to head back inside. Even the police officers on duty could not help them. In the following days, protests engulfed Indraprastha College. Students demanded the resignation of their principal. They also wanted maximum action against the late-night hooligans. But guess what the cops did? They detained around 15 activists from the protest site. Or at least that's what the students claim. One student also says the college threatened her with an FIR.
The college college authorities have not taken any sort of responsibility for anything. And a few days ago, 2 days ago, a stampede inside happened where the principal with a human chain of policemen walked over the students.
It's really shameful that neither is the principal ready to take accountability or entertain protests where students are angry and want to confront the administration.
Justice delayed is justice denied. How long does it take for them to take action against the trespassers and the harassers?
As accounts from Indraprastha spread, other colleges got cold feet. Garg College, for example, has decided to limit their fest. No night events, no concert, and pack up by 5 p.m. As you would expect, the students are not happy. They've been protesting against the college administration's decision. But once again, it's a classic example of what women go through in this country. Instead of increasing security or hunting down the hooligans, what does the college do? Curb the freedoms of female students. Today, there is outrage in campuses all over the country. The two incidents from Chennai and Delhi have reinforced the fact that many of our colleges are not safe spaces for women, whether it's a sacred institute like the Kalakshetra or a cosmopolitan campus like Indraprastha.
Let me go straight across to Swathi Malik, who's the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women. She's joining us on the broadcast. Swathi, first things first, I want your reaction on what happened at IP College and then what is happening now at Garg College. It's absolutely silly. You know, the administration fails to protect its students on one campus. So what does the other campus do? What does the other college do? They simply say, oh, we are just going to restrict your movement. We are just going to restrict your fest till 5 o'clock, no more. After that, please be sealed in your hostels. That way you'll be safe. What sort of response is that? Do they even understand the problem at hand here?
Clearly, they don't. I think it is very unfortunate. First, this kind of a sexual harassment, mass molestation case happened at Garg. Then it happened at Miranda House. Then again it happened at IP College. The police as well as the university as well as the college has completely failed to provide security to the girl students, and on top of it, to add insult to injury, now instead of making sure that there are stringent systems so that such kind of mass molestation cases do not happen ever in the future, these people are on the other end only trying to blame the victim herself and trying to just say that the girls should not be allowed to go out and they should be restricted to their hostel rooms and they have no right to participate in the fests. What kind of a bizarre decision is that? We have issued summons to IP College, we have issued summons to Delhi University as well as to the Delhi police, because I want to understand how is it that repeatedly such cases are happening. I met these girls, the IP College girls who were also protesting. I met them and they had extremely horrific tales to tell. Some of the survivors were with me and they informed how these hooligans, just mob of men, they just entered the college. There was absolutely no security and they molested them and still no action was taken. Yes, an FIR has been registered. Yes, some people have been detained, but most of the men who did something like that are still walking free, and until there is going to be exemplary punishment to them and until the Delhi University and the Delhi police comes together and takes a strong action against this and just strategizes what to do in the future in order to prevent such kind of harassment. Instead, on top of it, they are just saying that girls should not be partying, girls should not be going into the fest, girls should get inside their rooms at 5 o'clock. I think it's completely bizarre and it just reflects an extremely patriarchal and misogynistic mindset of these educational institutions.
Swathi, whether it is Kalakshetra or whether it's Delhi University, the one common thread I see is these internal committees. I don't know what these internal committees do, but the fact is that by the looks of it, it seems their only job is to brush anything unpleasant under the carpet. We saw it in Kalakshetra, where the girls go to their university, go to their college, go to their superiors, and there is an internal committee that is set up. And what does that internal committee do? Say nothing is wrong, nothing has happened, all is well. Similarly, as far as IP is concerned, the principal goes missing. An internal committee is set up. We don't know what happens to that internal committee. My point is, the point I'm trying to make, and to cut a long story short, is when incidents like this happen, whether at Kalakshetra or at Delhi University, the fact is this is a law and order issue that the police should be dealing with. This is not an issue that the college should think that they'll be in a position to sort out, because they clearly won't.
See, there are 2-3 aspects to this. The first and foremost, when we also issued summons to the university as well as to the college, they have told us, they've tried to tell us that, look, we have set up committees, but our setting up committees good enough? I really don't think so. I think a proper inquiry needs to happen as to what was done originally when Gargi happened, then what was done after that when Miranda happened, and what was done that when IP College incident has happened. It's been 1 week. When the Delhi Commission for Women issues summons to the Delhi University, within some hours of that summons landing in their office, they come up with a statement that, okay, we are now setting up a committee. What kind of a committee is this, and why was it not set up before? So I think that these committees that they set up just on that moment, I think this is just a way to brush the things under the carpet. And the major issue is, what is the accountability? When Gargi happened, when IP College happened, when Miranda happened, and when, for instance, Kalakshetra happened, how many people, what kind of an action was taken against the administration? All these girls get molested right in the college during their fest, and not even a single officer from the college or the university is held accountable for it. And this is a repeated task. Every time something like this happens, they just wash off their hands. They say that we formed a committee, but the Delhi Commission for Women is inquiring into the matter. We will get to the bottom of this, and we will make sure that some stringent guidelines are set in place and accountability is set.
You know, and I hope there is some inquiry committee set up in the Delhi police as well to ask and to question why it was these protesting girls who were detained and FIRs were threatened on them when it was men who had preyed into their college and harassed them. That is something that the Delhi police needs to answer as well, because their behavior in the case of Delhi University has been shameful. Swathi Maliwal, we leave it there. Thank you very much. Like I said, this is an issue that cuts across cities. Our reporters have been speaking to students at some of the top colleges in the country, and all of them had similar stories to share, of authorities not taking them seriously, of complaints being ignored, and of victim shaming. Listen in to some of these voices.
Completely, the university administration and the college administration are trying to posit this issue as one of mismanagement, which is very shameful, because we have been shouting for days that we have been these girls have been sexually harassed, groped, molested, among so many grave issues. And the disciplinary committees have no legal standing at all to investigate into the matter of sexual harassment.
We do not want the incidents that happen due to this, the negligence and the security lapse of the administration to lead to a situation where girls have to compromise on whatever kinds of events they want to be held.
Incidents like these are going to create atmosphere of fear for more women to come out, and instead of that, the university is also doing the same thing. They're succumbing to this atmosphere of fear, and instead of taking any accountability for what happened, they are just trying to delay the matter till it gets fizzles out.
जो हम ट्रेंड देख रहे हैं दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में और अन्य विश्वविद्यालयों में, वो ये है कि जो हरासमेंट कर रहा है ना, उसके ऊपर कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया जा रहा है. जो हरास हो रहा है उसको रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर रहे हो, उसको पनिश कर रहे हो.
2020 में हमारे कॉलेज में रेवरी हुआ था, जिसमें स्टैम्पीड हुई थी और फिर हरास हुई थी काफ़ी सारी लड़कियां हमारे कॉलेज की. उसके बाद कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया गया. इनफैक्ट इतना कि हमको हमारे सीनियर से वो लेगेसी भी पास नहीं हुई है. वी हैड नो आइडिया व्हाट हैपेंड इन रेवरी 2020 एंड नीदर ऑफ आवर जूनियर्स.
उसके बाद अभी IPCW में हुआ, उसके पहले मिरांडा हाउस में हुआ. वी वर एक्चुअली एक्सपेक्टिंग आवर कॉलेज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन टू ग्रो स्ट्रॉन्गर एंड हमको ये इंश्योर करना चाहिए था कॉलेज को कि we are behind you, we'll give you security, because that is not a luxury, that is an essential need, that is our right.
From Christ University, I would like to say that Christ is very, very safe. Like, this is one of the safest place I know in Bangalore, and I don't feel like there are any issues inside the college. Like, when we talk about living in SG Palya itself, then yeah, there are various concerns, like a lot of people are just loitering around everywhere, but inside college that is not possible at all.
Recently there's been an issue like that, so we have an internal redressal committee. So internal complaints company. It's based on the POSH Act. So in case if we have any grievances or any related complaints, we can approach our teachers and they will take necessary actions. I mean, there has been quite a few instances where actions have been taken against the required respective people, in case of such allegations.
Women are not safe anywhere. Let me cut to the chase. Women are not safe anywhere. It's not about the place. It's about the people in the place. Like, inside college we are safe, but outside college it's not the case. If you walk around SG Palya at night, not even night, at 6 p.m, there are high chances of, if you go and talk to any girl out there, they've been groped, they've been harassed, they've been catcalled. All this keeps happening in SG Palya and in the whole of Bangalore. So it's not a Delhi thing. It's not like it doesn't happen in Bangalore. It's not specific to the place. It's specific to the people, to be honest. And proper law enforcement is what needs to happen. Like, you have laws in place, but there is no proper enforcement happening for that. Police are doing their best, but it's not enough.
मेरे कॉलेज में फेस्टिवल थे, बॉलीवुड डे, फेवरेट पर्सनैलिटी, तब लड़के लोग अलग अलग ट्रेडिशंस पहन के आते थे, इवन दो वन पीस पहन के. सो बॉयज उन लोगों को देख के हंसते थे, कमेंट्स मारते एंड ऑल, बट वो गुड, दैट्स नॉट गुड. कुछ लोग तो साइड से स्नैप निकलते थे, तो उन लोग को लगता था कि गर्ल्स को पता ही नहीं चलता एंड ऑल. कॉलेज कुछ एक्शंस नहीं लेते, इवन दो टीचर्स भी इग्नोर करते. मेरे क्लास में तो बॉयज तो टीचर्स लोग को भी कमेंट करते, टीचर फ्रस्ट्रेटेड होकर लेक्चर्स को भी नहीं आती.
Okay, those are voices that are coming to you from across the country. And those voices are telling us one story. Vikram Singh is a former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. He's joining us on the broadcast. Pratibha Prahlad is a renowned artist, very upset, I'm sure, with what is happening at Kalakshetra. Pratibha ji, thank you very much. And Shambhavi is a student of the IP College here in Delhi. Shambhavi, I'm coming to you first. Thank you very much for joining us. I do believe that once you were out protesting against what had happened at IP College, you were threatened with an FIR. What happened? Tell us.
Yes. So we were on 31st. We had a march inside the campus, and it had to begin at 11. And around that time, my parents got call from someone from administration. They did not give the name, but they threatened my parents, saying that your daughter is a part of all of this in the college. She's doing it, and if she continues with this, she in a very near future she'll face with an FIR. She may get arrested. So it becomes our responsibility to take her out of it. And my parents were already very worried because of all of this in the news. They already knew about it. And after that, they forced me. I got like 17 to 20 missed calls from my home, and they forced me to get out of the college then and there. But I calmed them down. I said that I assured them that there are more students here. We all are in this together. But right now, the things at my home are not very good after the call, and they have been trying to do this through professors, through our parents. They have been threatening us. I mean, we are not doing anything wrong. We are not doing anything illegal. We're just asking for accountability. We are just asking the bare minimum from the administration, and this is the response of administration. This is the response of police, who is brutally detaining us. They should have provided the security on the day of the fest. Now they are coming with water cannons. Who are they going to use water cannons on? The students of the college itself. So the administration has been doing the same. The police has been doing the same. It's just the students who have continued with their protest, and it's been 3 days now, and we are still continuing with the protest, even though the committee has been made. But we do not trust that committee because there's no student representation in that committee. We had asked for student representation, and if there is no student representation in the committee, it's not transparent committee.
Shambhavi, tell me what makes you angry? The protests have been now going on for 3 days at Delhi University against what happened at IP University. The response of Garg College, where something similar happened 2 years ago, is to say that we are going to restrict your fest, we are going to restrict your festival, annual festival, and ensure it shuts off by 5 o'clock. What is it that makes you angry in this entire sequence that has played out in the last 1 week? What is it that makes your blood boil?
It is the response of the administration from the very start. The day that the day on the fest, when students were getting harassed, when students were injured in stampede, the administration, the principal of our college asked the volunteers who are our age, they are 19 to 20-year-old girls. The principal asked them to go to the gate and handle the crowd. The principal said in a statement that if if you students will get out of the college, the boys will follow you. So they'll get out of the college too. And also in a statement, she has said, she has commented on on a student's clothes that you are wearing this, which is why it is happening with you. So it has been the response of the administration from the very start. They locked the hostels, the girls inside the hostels in the name of their safety. Now they are doing the same with Gargi. They are saying that they'll not have the fest because of the IPCW issue, because of their concern of their safety, and if there is a fest, it will not be open. That is not the solution.
Okay.
You'll have to provide the security. You cannot run away from your responsibility. That is just running away from the responsibility if you shut down the college, if you shut down the fest.
Point. Pratibha Prahlad, would you want to come in here? This is not an isolated case that is happening in Delhi University, in the heart of this country, in India's capital. It is also something that is being reflected in India's cultural capital, which is Chennai. Kalakshetra is an iconic institution. An iconic institution which is so rooted in tradition that it didn't know how to handle charges of sexual assault against 4 professors. Because if you look at the sequence of events as they played out, the first instinct of this venerable institution was to brush everything under the carpet.
I feel very pained when I hear these kinds of instances. I was just listening to this young student from Kalakshetra College, and I think it's a deeply rooted, patriarchal, misogynistic kind of a response to anything that happens to girls, to women. You blame the victim, you blame the women, you blame the girls for you talk about their behavior, you talk about their dress, you talk about their personality and say that you have solicited trouble and so therefore you're in trouble. That's a classic kind of a regressive, misogynistic, patriarchal, classic response by those kinds of people, conservative and power hungry and power control freaks. But what I want to tell you is that it's not just about Kalakshetra. We were deeply pained about what happened in Kalakshetra, and now I hear that the Kalakshetra problem actually started in 2008. And we've had 3 successive directors of Kalakshetra. The last man who was a director of Kalakshetra being Sir Rajaram, sir. And after him were 2 other dancers, renowned, well-known senior dancers who were made directors of Kalakshetra. Both under, if this is true, that this problem started in 2008, because we've had alumni complain now, they're coming out one by one and complaining against the same professor and against others, that there is this toxic atmosphere, there is sexual harassment, there's verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, and if you need to go to performances, if you need to be in the repertory, then you have to favor the teacher. Now, by favor, it can mean anything, you know that, and I know that. So basically, since these things are coming out now, one by one, I really hope that the Ministry of Culture, under which this renowned institution, Kalakshetra, comes under, holds an inquiry, not just of what's happening now, but what's happening since 2008, and what were those directors doing, how many complaints did they receive, and why were those complaints not looked into, why were they not addressed, and why was this professor, now he's a professor, he must have been a dance teacher then, why was he not suspended then or dismissed from the institution? And what bothers me about the current problem is that this current problem surfaced in, I think I'm told, in November, December. And the first response to that was to, form an internal committee, like you said, of people who are all known to each other. And, the director put herself as the chairperson of that committee. And soon after, she exonerated this, abusive teacher, the dance teacher, who was perpetrating crime on his students. The students waited. Because I'm repeatedly saying this because these children, the children in Indraprastha College, Garg College, all these girls, they are between 17, 18 years of age and 24 years of age. Not many of them have resources to address these problems. Not many of them know how to address these problems. So when something like this happens to them and, in this imbalanced power equation, the first, confession or the confidant they have is their friend. And then maybe a lady teacher who they feel kind of, maybe trustworthy and they can tell this person. So those first kind of, information that the teacher gets or a friend gets or somebody hears of this, it has to be addressed then. Things should not be, you should not wait this long for things to erupt, for things to go on for years and years and years. I mean, we are hearing horrific stories from Kalakshetra, and we don't know what it is. Why are you saying that it's okay for a male teacher to abuse girl students, or even for a male teacher to abuse male students? Because right now, I don't know if you know about it, there are 3 male students of Bharatanatyam who have come forward and said that there were 3 heads of repertory who were abusing them and who were sexually abusing them. So we are very pained, very distressed. And the general body met yesterday in Kalakshetra, and I was hoping that the director, Revati Ramachandran, would resign, owning moral responsibility for what happened, but she did not, because her 2-year term was extended only last week, and I think ethically, morally, she should have resigned, but she did not. And they just kind of announced examinations from tomorrow.
It doesn't happen anymore.
And our, problem right now is...
Those, Pratibha ji, were the good old days.
No, but just look at
when
this.
When people took moral responsibility and resigned. Those days are long gone. Now everyone just wants to hold on to power. You have the IP university principal against whom questions are being raised. She's not stepping out to answer them. Kalakshetra, similar story. The head of the institution is not stepping out to answer questions. I want to quickly get in Vikram Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, in as well, because look at what Pratibha ji is telling us. She's telling us that at Kalakshetra, reports now coming out say that from 2008 is when these sexual harassment incidents start. So for 15 years, Vikram Singh, there is a conspiracy of silence. That nothing comes out. Nothing harms the reputation of our hallowed institution. This is a conspiracy of silence. Not just from the institution side, I would say even from the police's side, whether you look at the excessive action against students who have been protesting at the Delhi University or even in Kalakshetra. My question to you is this, Vikram Singh, when cases of sexual harassment come, should this entire business of internal committee looking into things simply be scrapped and you say this is a law and order issue and FIR will be lodged? Let the police look at it.
Very correct, Shreya ji. I am a former DGP, but a current chancellor of a leading university in the NCR area, and I'm proud to place on record that I have more girl students and more lady faculties because of the fact that we have zero tolerance to this kind of nonsensical humbug. And you're very right. There is an administrative requirement under the POSH. They can go and they can conduct the inquiry, time-bound inquiry, not for the next 5 years. And as far as the police are concerned, in all the cases that you mentioned, incorporate the ingredients of Section 354 of the IPC 294, Indecent Representation of Women's Act, and the police should have been extremely proactive through community policing experiments, gone to the bottom of this, given the fear of God And I would say that if you do not have a policy of zero tolerance, then I think you are way off the mark and failing in your duty to ensure safe work environment for women teachers and also for the girl students. I feel sorry for Shambhavi ji, and indeed what Pratibha ji has said, a point to be noted by all the institutions. But here we have, if there is an allegation against a male teacher, the first thing is, you will forgive me for the harsh words, shoot first, apologize later. We first throw the gentleman out, do the inquiry, and if he's exonerated after very stringent measures, then he's called back. It is not that the inquiry will linger on for 10 years and he can continue his shameless and disgraceful activities and unleash himself on trusting girls and other victims, potential victims. We do not allow this kind of an environment at all. We have a policy of zero tolerance, and I wish this is there in every institution. What happened in Miranda, IP, Kalakshetra is absolutely obnoxious and unacceptable, Shreya.
What is also unacceptable, since you're a former DGP and you understand the police force well, what is also unacceptable, Vikram Singh A, is what happens at IP University, because where were the police? There is a fest there. Everyone has local intelligence units. You know what the boys are up to. Where were you? You knew this would happen. But where were you? You were missing in action. When you suddenly spring in action is when the girls are protesting. And what you do is, instead of nabbing the boys who, climbed the walls and harassed and groped these girls, you detain these girls. You drag them by their hair. Mane, kya?
Total miscarriage of justice, Shreya. I wish the police had the ability for which they are paid to distinguish between the aggressor and the aggrieved, the victim and the predator. They did not. They are functioning like a boys' club, and a perverse boys' club as that, Shreya. I know if they had been a boys' club which were honorable, they would have come down like a ton of bricks on the predators, and they would have given them a lesson for a lifetime. During my time, the lesson that I gave to such predators was such that they did not surface for the rest of their lives ever. And that would mean documentation in registered Badmashan, register number 10, as is known in almost all the police stations in the country, proper surveillance and history sheets, bring them on an active list. You forget. They say, as in Hindi, aisa kahar aaya, aashik ishq bhool gaye. This is the kind of treatment that these hoodlums and boisterous chaps must be given by the police and the law enforcement. The internal committees can do and make a bigger mess of their inquiries, but the police have a job to perform. 15 working days is all that you require, and take pains to ensure the difference between the victim and the predator.
You know what I'm glad about? I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm glad that girls at Delhi University are out there on the streets, ensuring that their voices are heard, ensuring that their protests continue despite all the pressure that students like Shambhavi are facing. And I'm glad that women students in Kalakshetra are now coming out, not just the ones who are presently there training, the alumni as well, who are telling us that this possibly is Kalakshetra's Me Too moment, that for the last 15 years, there have been cases of sexual harassment that have been brushed under the carpet. We'll leave it there. I'm so glad this is coming out. Thank you very much, Pratibha Prahlad. Thank you very much, Shambhavi. And thank you very much, Vikram Singh ji, for joining us. With that,